to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out on a walk with you.
Hello friends. So as you know by the title, I want to do a room makeover, and specifically I'm really inspired by the Brambly Hedge, which if you don't know is a series that was written I think in the 80s by Jill Barkham. And it just follows these little mice that live in a Brambly Hedge, and it has the cutest little bedrooms. They're very like vintage and lived in, and something I really like about the Brambly Hedge is that all of the little mouse spaces just, there's so much to look at and they're so like layered and interesting. While I actually am aiming to declutter and get rid of things, I still want there to be like a visual interest in the room. I don't want to like just paint it white and have everything be gray, and like that would be very millennial of me, but I am not a fan of millennial GREIGE. My plans for this room are to put in wallpaper. I know that in this room I want it to feel very cozy, very welcoming. I want there to be elements of practicality throughout the room, because right now I don't feel like it's really super practical. But I just want it to feel like a cozy little den that you can come into and read for hours or write for hours, or a sanctuary where I can come at the end of a long day and feel like I'm enveloped in a warm hug. Also, look at this little mouse. I saw her on the shelf and I was like, I'm an adult woman. I don't need a mouse with a birthday cake, but I'll put her somewhere in the room because she's perfect. She's so cute. Anyway, let's get into it. When we moved into this house, it had some really ugly carpet, which we obviously replaced with click flooring. We really wanted to restore the original floors, which are hardwood, but in the main part of the house, the oldest part of the house, they were just falling apart, so we couldn't restore the bedroom floors. And I haven't done anything else to this room. You can see that I've tried to personalize it with decorations, the hats around the mirror, the little gallery wall, the shelves, but overall, I think because I haven't just started fresh with something that's completely myself, I haven't really felt like connected with the room design, and it just feels cluttered. I decided to pull everything out of the bedroom. Taking the shelves off the walls, the decorations off the walls. I wanted to move out all of the furniture that I could because I really wanted to start with a completely fresh slate. Since we didn't have the time or the money to do this when we moved in, it was really satisfying to empty out the room. I put everything into boxes so that I could also declutter while I was reorganizing, and I did end up getting rid of quite a few things. I do like some of the decor concepts I came up with while I was trying to make this room my own before I had the money to do a lot, like the hats around the mirror and the gallery wall that I started, but I just think that everything in the room feels really unfinished because I didn't have the ability to truly personalize it to what I love. And of course, because I am a lover of books, I have books everywhere, and one of my biggest wish list items for this room is bookshelves. A lot of my decor in this room is thrifted, which I'm pretty proud of, and I hope to keep it that way. While I don't have a set budget for this room, I do still want to remain conscious of what I'm spending just to be smart with the money that we have, obviously. And so my goal is to keep it at or under $500, and we'll see how I do. Okay, so obviously before we actually do the makeover, we have to talk about the design of the room and what my inspiration is and how I want this room to be. And that goes hand in hand with the sponsor of today's video, who is MILLENIAL. If you don't know who MILLENIAL is, they are a visual organization tool. I love them. I've used them for my book. Here is my book board. You can see here that I have like the chapter list for everything that I've edited. I have my timeline for when I want to get things done and my little checklist. But I also really love MILLENIAL because they have mood boards, which is incredibly important for a book because I had to hire a cover artist. And so I was able to create the mood board within MILLENIAL and then send the link to my cover artist so she had all of the visuals that I wanted to influence the cover. I also used MILLENIAL for my kitchen makeover, which was really fun. And for this room, of course, I started a board of a lot of different things. So let's look into the bedroom makeover MILLENIAL board and I can chat a little bit about the room design. First of all, as I have mentioned, as is in the title, I wanted this to be very inspired by the Brambly Hedge. I think what I really like to take away from the Brambly Hedge is that it's very like cozy, a little bit cottagecore, very vintage inspired, a little bit like Victorian, and also really nostalgic. I want it to feel like you're living with a mouse in a teapot. Very English countryside cottage circa like 1930s and 40s inspired, but obviously with all the modern touches. And then you can see here I have like the patterns that I like with the details of floral, gingham, quilting, lots of print on print, all tonal. I think that my colors for this room are probably going to be pink and green. I then have kind of some things that I will need if I'm able. Behind me is a closet that I want to make over, but I don't know if I'm going to have time for that. Specifically because it requires lifting the side of the house that's sinking a little bit before we can really mess with the structure of the closet. I also want to get some bookshelves to put in the room, and I'm thinking I want to put the bookshelves above the window. You can also see just my inspiration photos for this are very, very much pattern on pattern, lots of gingham and quilting. The Brambly Hedge images that I love the most are these ones where they have like the little bed swag. I love that. If I had room for a 4-poster bed, I would totally do that because I think that's so like iconic to the Brambly Hedge. So then if we scroll a little bit, I have, of course, the mood board, but then you can see I have the bookshelves in here and the potential wallpaper that I'm going to be using. I love this wallpaper. I think it's so pretty. And there's lots of florals. I also kind of want to paint the door with some florals, like kind of folk art inspired design. Again, all of my inspiration photos have what I've noticed from the past years is that the rooms I love the most are green. And so I think I might be painting the room green, but I also just love florals and quilts and crochet and like so much color. Then I have my to-do list, and this is where not everything will get checked off that I know of, because I have my filming goals, which are an aside, but my to-do list is to get some yarn and thrift. And like you can see here, I have a whole schedule for the days in which I'm doing the project, and I have to be very honest with y'all, I don't know if I can crochet things or a lot of the crafty projects, I thought about potentially painting some pictures for the room. I thought about crocheting a pillowcase. I have about a week to get this done, and I know I don't want the bedroom to be torn apart and unfinished for a long time. But as you can see, I have also linked kind of some patterns for stitches, crochet stitches, and all of that. And then I have all my little goals that I need to hit in order to finish the project. And this is what I really love about MILLENIAL, is it's not just a mood board, and they have hundreds of templates for you to choose from, no matter what your project is, whether you are doing a room design or a collaborative project, a poster, a book, clothing design, like a brand marketing thing. But you can utilize those templates and then customize them, or you can just create a blank space if that's more your vibe. MILLENIAL is excellent for collaborating. You can create the board and then you can share the link to whomever you want to see it, and they can approve or request changes. It's fabulous. I've been using it with my cover artist and it's been so nice. if you want to check out MILLENIAL for yourself, and I highly recommend it because I have been using them and I will continue to use them, especially for future books, future home projects. I am using them to create like seasonal things that I want to do. I have a board of seasonal ideas where I have like a mood board of what I want to do in that season, and some recipes and projects and like all of the things that I want to do per season. It's so helpful. I think I will be using it to plan my garden. So that's a potential future thing that you will all see. But if you want to try out MILLENIAL for yourself, go ahead and check out my description. You can sign up for free. There are no hidden costs if you want to use MILLENIAL. Go check them out. I love them. I will continue to use them for the rest of my life because they are really such a fantastic source. Thank you so much to MILLENIAL for sponsoring this video and for continuing to support my dreams. You supported my kitchen makeover and the bedroom makeover and my book. Like, fantastic, all around 10/10. Highly recommend. And let's get into the room makeover. And I hope I can achieve all of this. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I have faith in myself. Let's get into it.
The hardest decision for me has always been paint color. I've actually had a few different green samples painted on my walls for a few years now because I knew that I wanted green, but I've never been able to find the right color. I spent so much time at the hardware store looking at all of the green paint samples and hoping that I could find one I would love. And I found a few that were very nice and coordinated well with the wallpaper. You can see my old paint samples on the wall there. And so I decided to buy a sample of all three because I thought maybe mixing a couple of them together might work, and maybe seeing them on my walls would help. But in the end, I didn't choose any of these three. The top two ones were a little too light and gray for my taste. I really didn't want anything that could like translate as dull on camera. I love bright colors, I love bold colors, and these two were nice, and I do think they're pretty, but they were just not right for the project. This last one is the closest to what I ended up with, so if you want a modern replica, this is pretty close. It's not exact to what the room ended up being, but it is close, and it is a really nice color. And this is the one my husband liked the most before we settled on the color that I ended up color matching, which is from a 1950s paint card. Again, I did this in the kitchen. This is not going to be the same green as in the kitchen, but it is very similar. And I looked through all of my vintage paint sample cards and I found one that I absolutely love. It's called Woodland. It's right there. It's brighter and a little bit more, like a tiny bit more on the blue side than the modern paint color. So that is the one I ended up going with. I'm so incredibly happy. I cannot wait for you all to see it on the walls. And then it was, of course, time for one last thrift trip to pick up any little bits and bobs to decorate with, because y'all know me, I love thrifting.
Hello. So let's do a quick little thrift haul. I've been thrifting decor for the room for a little while now, but I wanted to share some of the things that I've actually gotten in no particular order. First, I found this lovely little, it's not actually quilt pieces, it's the fabric is like this, but then they've stitched all around. And I thought it was cute, and it's very much within the pink and green color scheme that I gravitate towards. And then on the same day I found this one, and then on a different trip I found a crochet pillow. And lastly, I felt like I got really lucky with pillows. Lastly, I found this set. which have this cute little design on them. Again, handmade. I also kind of want to put more candles in the room, but I don't want just like the fat scented candles. I want actual like candlesticks. So I've been looking for candlestick holders, and I found these, and they're very, very simple, but I think they will be effective. And then the lamp. This I actually just bought the lamp kit, and I do have a lampshade for it that I will show you later. So I have been planning to crochet a blanket for the bed because I learned how to crochet, and I figured I would just make myself a crochet blanket, even though my skill level at crochet is like very beginner. But then I just found this, and it's lovely, and this is definitely a homemade project. I thrifted it, obviously. This is a thrift haul, Kristina. It's really simple, but this is perfect. I think this is really pretty, and it's exactly what I was hoping for. I love the texture of it. That's something I really like about crochet things, is the texture is so beautiful. Then, I mean, I might as well show you my entire haul from today, because why not? This is not related to the bedroom, but I found a good stack. 5 little dessert plates and 2 salad plates. Doesn't have anything to do with the bedroom. That is just this was my ultimate dream dish set, and I'm very close to having I have all of the big plates that I need. I still need a couple of more, like maybe 2 more salad plates. And I really want these cereal bowl sized bowls. But I have the majority of the set now through years and years of thrifting and collecting. The other non-bedroom things. I found these 2 vintage cookbooks. And then, this is not necessarily decor related, but I mean, I will use them. I found a set of pillowcases that look like this. And then I found a set of pillowcases that are floral. Very cottagecore. And then, the best things I saved for last. First of all, I've been looking for round picture frames. Round and oval and like unusual, interesting picture frames. And I found not one. This one is, I'm going to see if I can replace the little lady. I mean, I might leave her. She's a little cute, but also I might be able to replace her with something else. And then I found a set. And I love these. I think they're so cute. So I found those. And then I can't decide which one of these is my favorite, so I'll just little boxes, y'all. And so there's that one. It's plastic. I think this is probably 50s. So cute. And then this one, which is absolutely probably 80s or 90s. Look at the top. Oh, look at it. It's got feet and everything, and it's a really unique shape. So pretty. So that is the majority of what I have gotten thrifted for this room. Yeah, that's my little thrift haul for today. I just need everyone to see the difference between the dried paint, which is here, and the wet paint, because it's a little bit concerning on the wall. Wow, and it looks so wildly different up there than it does down here. But I was a little bit concerned at first because the lighter color looks a little bit like lime green. Once it dries down, I think it's going to be beautiful and perfect, but whew, gave me a heart attack when I did it because I just bought the full paint. I didn't test it.
There's something incredibly healing about being able to come into a room and actually make it your own. This wasn't something we'd ever done before we finally made over the kitchen because wallpapering and painting and making over a room is just not necessary to survive. Now that we're in a place financially where we can do things like this, it's so incredibly healing. This is what I hoped for one day, and all of my hopes are coming true now because I worked hard to get here and we can. I don't know how to explain that to somebody who hasn't experienced living on a tight budget. I wish I could impart this experience on everyone who is struggling, but I also want to remind you that even if all you can do is buy a $20 can of paint, you do deserve to have a space that feels like your own. Everyone deserves the chance to spend $20 on a can of paint and make a room just a little bit more joyful.
Be the cat in the sun. Be the cat in the sun. Set aside every empty spreadsheet. Loosen up from the grind.
Putting up the wallpaper is always a little bit scary because in an old crooked house, things don't like to hang straight and it's tricky to match the seams. This is a cheaper wallpaper, and I will say that with my experience between using cheap wallpaper and using the more expensive peel and stick, I prefer the cheap wallpaper. I have a wallpaper in the dining room that I'm considering, but it is a lot more expensive and I just don't like it as much. I think it's beautiful, but it's not as durable and it was a lot harder to match the seams and it's not sticking like I would have expected it to. And I did the same exact thing for that process as I did in the kitchen with the cheap wallpaper and as I did in the bedroom here with the cheap wallpaper. So if you're looking into wallpapers, just know that the price might not always reflect how well it's going to work in your room. I certainly did not apply this perfectly, and I'm very thankful that we have furniture to cover this wall because as hard as I tried to get it perfectly straight at the top, that ended up having a tiny gap at the bottom anyway, and it just is what it is. The final pre-decor decision I made was to repaint the windowsills. They're getting beat up and I don't think we painted them when we moved in, and as you can see, the previous owner did not paint the edges at all. So going over with a fresh coat of white paint, which I've had in the house because from the kitchen makeover, just made it all feel so fresh.
When living authentic, do more exploring, deeper than knowing just what is essential.
And please don't judge the duct tape on the outside of the windows. The old owners left that there. I can't reach these windows from the ground, and until a little while ago we didn't have a ladder, so it's on my to-do list, but it hasn't been super important.
Until there's peace to your core, live a life you adore.
Oh, I match. Alright, well, it is the end of the paint and wallpaper day, and I am so happy. It feels so much more intentional in here already. The color that the room was before was not bad at all. It was fine. I didn't mind it. I'm not really a beige kind of person, but like it was on the pink side, so it wasn't horrible, right? But it wasn't something that we picked. This house is old. The people who owned it before just didn't do anything nice. I find it so funny because, sorry, this is just a sit and ramble with Kristina for a moment. I find it really interesting because on the video I made 5 or 6 months ago where I talk about being low income, which, by the way, because of my channel growth, I no longer feel like we are, but I think we technically are. I find it really interesting on that video that the #1 critique, or like the haters or whatever, is like, oh, you're not low income, you have a nice house. And I find that so interesting because it really shows how shallow people are when it comes to like how things look. Because this is not a nice house. It's fine, it's a serviceable house, but it was originally built as a little square box 100 years ago. They put a little square box to survive, and that was it, and then they added on random bits throughout the years. So like, it's just ramshackle, and the previous owner was disabled and elderly, and so she had renters in here, and like throughout the years it wasn't taken care of. The corner of the bedroom is sinking in here, the corner of the kitchen is sinking. There's smoker damage from whoever was in here. The trim is missing. It's not necessarily like what I would call a nice house, but because I have good taste and I've always been really good at finding a deal and figuring out how to make things look good on a budget, it looks like a nice house. But like, people equate having an aesthetic house or having good taste with money, and I find that really fascinating. I think that being on a budget is not as limiting as people think it is. It forces you to be a lot more creative with what you're doing and choose in a way that is much more personal than if you had a lot of money and you were buying the cookie cutter Target decorations that everybody else buys all the time. Like, I really think that because we have been on a budget my whole life, and I've been thrifting my whole life, I've been buying secondhand, getting things off Facebook Marketplace, like our entire bedroom set was free. This is probably $1,000 set at least. It was free because somebody was getting rid of it. Like, being open to those opportunities and being persistent and consistent and having a clear goal in mind will go so far. You don't have to have a lot of money to make your house look nice. This is probably the most I've spent on any room in the house, making it look better, because we finally have the money and I finally feel like I have the budget, and the video is sponsored, so that also helps. But tomorrow I decorate, and that will be fun, and I think it's gonna look so good. It's gonna be so different in here, and I'm excited.
Aside from the wallpaper and paint, I think the other thing I was really excited about was adding bookshelves above the windows. Now, this is not a decision that everyone will love, but I personally think it's a great way to get my books off the floors, especially because I don't have the wall space to put an actual bookshelf anywhere, and I didn't ever end up finding side tables with book space like I'd kind of hoped I would. This also reminds me of all those old houses that have every nook and cranny and empty space filled with some kind of shelf or built-in or storage. I had my husband hang the shelves for me because I am notoriously bad at hanging things straight, even if I have a guideline like the windowsill. One of the other reasons I decided to put the shelves above the window and not somewhere else is that the window will act as a little bit more of a support because the sills are pretty thick, and I figured that would be a smart move. Adding the furniture back into the room presented another challenge because this room isn't actually even. The windows are not perfectly centered on this wall, I think, and so with the vanity and the dresser, it means that the bed has to be a little bit lopsided on the wall. I did decide to try putting the dresser on the opposite wall just to see how it would look, but as you'll see later, I didn't end up keeping it that way.
Okay, I have all of the major furniture in here, and a very curious part of me wants to know what it might look like to have the bed on this wall, the dresser way over there, and the vanity right here. I've had the room that way before, and it ends up, if the bed is over here, it ends up kind of making a blockage of the walkway into the room, and it feels smaller. But also part of me is like, oh my gosh, it would be so cute to have the vanity right there because that's where all the light is. Like, just imagine a vanity in the center of that wall. So I think I'm going to entertain that little part of myself that just wants to see how it looks and move it. And then I'm probably going to end up just moving it right back. But,
Here I was trying to explain the kind of blockage that the bed creates. I've had the bed like this before, but I didn't have anything else against the wallpaper wall, so I was able to move the bed closer to the wall and create less of a block, but it just doesn't work that way, and I'm a little bit sad about that because I really do think the vanity would be so cute on the wallpaper wall. So I had really hoped to utilize this lamp. I got this lamp base at the thrift store and bought a lamp kit for it. It is so pretty and so perfect for the theme. However, the lamp kit was faulty. I was all ready to go and I put it all together, which I've done this before. I know how to do it, but the lamp kit, it didn't work. I don't know what was wrong with it, but it was just a faulty lamp kit. And so I didn't end up using that lamp. We also replaced the door, which is a big thing, but like I didn't spend a whole lot of time filming that. And then I have had this really beautiful chair for a long time. I got it on Facebook Marketplace for like $10. It's a 1960s vanity chair, and I just think it's the cutest thing. And I've been meaning to reupholster and paint it for a very long time, but I complicated the matter in my head because I thought I should dye the fabric and reupholster it the same way it was upholstered. I'm never going to do that. So I ended up covering the original stuffing and everything that was there with some thrifted upholstery fabric that I had in my stash already. And then hot gluing on the back like they did for the original chair. By the way, it was hot glued on. And then adding a trim from my stash to finish it off. And I'm actually really happy with how the chair turned out. I think it looks really, really cute. The pink is perfect, obviously. And while it's a little more 80s leaning, I don't actually mind it. I think it works. It works for the nostalgia that I want to bring into the room. then it was time to put books on the bookshelves. And originally I just put my current reading list up on one side, and then I decided to change that. Also, side note, I found candles that look like fairy houses. They are the cutest thing. Anyhow, I originally was just putting up my reading list, and then I realized I would rather have one side be romances and the other side be fantasy / fairy tale / mystery. So I rearranged those, and I also put up my set of my favorite books by my favorite author, Evie Dunmore. Bringing Down the Duke and All of That Follow are my absolute favorite books of all time. So I'm really happy with the bookshelves. I'm really happy we decided to put them up there. As for the dresser, essentially it's all kind of just what was already on there, only simplified because my makeup stand now is on the vanity. And then I put foliage around the windows, and I know this is something that not everyone's going to love, but I personally think that it really brings in that element of wild that I was looking for with being inspired by the Brambly Hedge and mice and living, you know, under a bush, essentially. And I really love the way that they look. I thrifted the foliage around the windows, and then the peonies that I put around the mirror are from the craft store, and they were on sale for like $7 a bunch. Then it was time to work on my hat wall, and if you know me and my channel, you know it's not a Kristina's bedroom without a hat wall. I've had a hat wall for a very long time. If you look back at some of my oldest videos, I had a hat wall. I did decide to keep it all tonal, used all of my pink and maroon hats with a few extras thrown in that I just want to try and wear this summer. But in general, they're all the same colors that are throughout the room. And I also tried to keep the placement very neat and tidy. Rather than putting things up like a gallery wall, I tried to keep them lined up nicely. By the way, I'm hanging these on push pins that are clear, and if the hat doesn't like to stay on the push pin, I also use a safety pin as a hook to just put into the back of the hat. When I was putting together the vanity, I was trying to keep it simple, but I just can't. I just like a lot of things, okay? And so originally I was just gonna have this little floral lamp for some light and my 1920s dresser set, but I ended up needing to put my makeup stand up there as well because I didn't really have anywhere else to put this. And so I ended up putting a lot more on the vanity than I had planned, but I do really like the way it looks. I think it's really pretty the way that it ended up. The light switch is one that a subscriber sent me. Her mom painted it. It's beautiful. And then I made the decision to take down all of my vintage necklaces off of my moon mirror and put them in the top of this other dresser that we have, which is meant for jewelry. I just think it's much tidier, and I'm trying to simplify. I still have a lot on the walls, but I'm trying to make it more intentional. So then it was time to put the art back on the walls, and I wanted to lay everything out and see what I had before I made decisions on where things needed to go. I really want a gallery wall around the dresser, and I really want to frame these 1960s cat pictures. But I just wanted to make sure that I was making like the best visual impact with what I had. And so I decided to put these little hats and the little lady painting next to the door as a little moment right there. And then I decided to just kind of make the gallery go around this floral picture that I have that I really love. I put Mr. Rochester up there, the vintage lady from the thrift store, pictures of my grandparents, some random art from the thrift store, the wallpaper that used to originally be in this house, art my friend painted, lots of little random things. I would love to continue this over the dresser, but for now, it is what it is. Be proud of me, I framed the cat pictures. I really think this tied the room together. I thought that this side of the room was going to be a little boring because I didn't have the shelf over there anymore, but I ended up loving it. I love it so much. And last but not least, it's time to do all of the bed stuff. So I made the bed with my gingham sheets, which I've had for a little while now. Bedding can really change a room in ways that I hadn't realized. Having the little decor pillows and the gingham and the quilt. This quilt is stunning. It is all hand done. All of that embroidery is hand done. It is an older quilt. I'm not sure how old. My guess is anywhere before the 1960s. But it's just stunning. It's so beautiful. And then, of course, my thrifted pillowcases and some florals on top of that because I'm a big fan of mixing prints. And all of my little thrifted pillows. And, of course, we cannot forget the extra little blanket. So now we come to the lamps. And because the lamp kit didn't work out, I found these at Home Goods and I could not decide which ones I like more. So you will have to let me know in the comments which ones are your favorites. I love the pink glass because it kind of matches the wallpaper and the flowers and everything. But the white ones are really beautiful in Lily of the Valley. And I like Lily of the Valley a lot. So let me know in the comments which lamps you like better. Also, found more of the little fairy house candles. They're so cute. And with the addition of new rug, it is time to get to the reveal. We're done. Holy cow. When I started this project, I did not think it was going to turn out this good. Like, it's better than I could have imagined, even though I did not end up having time to do the crafting projects that I wanted to do, and I'm still undecided about the door. Y'all need to let me know in the comments if I should paint some designs on the door. Like, maybe? I don't know. But I'm done and it's beautiful. I keep walking in here like, wow, this is my room. This is my room? As far as project costs go, I will be very honest with you and say that I did not track the cost as well as I should have. But I can tell you that the wallpaper and the paint and the door
were the most expensive parts of the project, which I would not have been able to do without a sponsor. So thank you again to MILLENIAL for sponsoring this. The wallpaper itself, I bought 10 rolls and it was $10 per roll, so it was $100. That was the biggest like overall decor cost. And then the paint was $21, $24. So that right there was like about $125. The lamps, which I think I have decided to keep the pink ones. Y'all can still let me know your preference in the comments, but when I lit them up, I just prefer the way the pink ones like cast to the light. I can't explain it. At night it's so pretty. But the lamps were $40 each. So again, on the more expensive side. That would make this project like $200 with the lamp. The rug on that side of the room was $60, so that's $260. I believe the shelves were $34, so that's $294. The frames for my cat photos were $30, so that's $324. The quilt was, I believe, $90. And then as far as all the little bits of decor, I thrifted a lot of the florals. I thrifted some picture frames. I thrifted the little millinery sign. The vanity, which actually I thrifted a while ago, but I did thrift it for this room makeover. It was $60. All in all, I know I spent at least $500 in the room, if not more. But if we count the door, I think that the door and the trim came out to around $200 to $300. So that is a big cost. That is also something that this is how my little girl math brain works. All right. We would have replaced the door whether I had made the room over or not. It just pushed the timeline up because I really wanted it to be done because I knew it would be a big impact. So that is a cost that, like, yes, it is part of this video and we did it for the video. However, we would have been doing it anyway. So in my little girl math head, that doesn't actually count because like we would have done it anyway. Oh, the curtains. The curtains I think were like $14 per pair. I want to thank all of you for being here. As always, I'm so thankful for the success that all of you have helped me find. I wouldn't be where I am without my audience. And the biggest thing I want to say is thank you for being here. I'm not gonna cry on the internet anymore. Y'all, thank you for being here. Thank you for literally changing our lives. You have all made an incredible impact on my life, and I cannot thank you enough. I hope I can always live up to the expectations that you all have of me. I hope I can always feel like a warm and welcoming space, no matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, no matter what budget you have. I hope that you feel so very welcome here. And yeah, thank you for being here. That is it for this video. As always, from the bottom of my heart, I hope that wherever you are feeling safe and loved. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!